Hey, Jacob, sorry for the lag. And I hopefully this is being recorded. So what I'm going to do is go through this very briefly, and I might not sound very cohesive at times because I am practicing, but I wanted to know where wanted you to know where we are in the process. So here we go, and I'm going to fake it like I'm talking to the crowd. All right. Welcome to the District 7780 Diversity, Equity, Inclusion 101 breakout session. And we're happy to have you all here today. This is meant to be a 101 session because I am not a guru in DEI. I have done some things because of my work and also in my club, Saco Bay Sunset. So I want to share those with you along with my colleague, Jacob. So as you can see on the very first screen, all are welcome here. And Rotary has developed this graphic that we are all welcome, no matter what age, size, social economic background. We want new members and we want diverse members. So that's kind of the liftoff on what we're going to be talking about today. So the presenters are Jacob Allen, pointing to you, Jacob. And Jacob is going to talk a little bit about Rotary in a few minutes and about how he got involved in Rotary. And right now, Jacob, I just want to share with you, all I have is Jacob Allen, Saco Bay Sunset, and then your email. If you want me to put something else under that, please let me know. Okay, we'll talk about that Thursday. Better yet, send it to me before Thursday. Then there's a picture of you and there's a picture of me. And I continue to say, and I'm Carol Marcotte. I work at the University of New England. I happen to be the co-chair of District 7780 DEI Committee. I'm president-elect of Saco Bay Sunset and also chair of the Rising Stars Fight Against Sex Human Trafficking. So we're going to talk about stories here. We're going to share our stories. We want to hear your stories and hopefully walk away with a few ideas and a better understanding of what DEI really is. So on this slide, you can see the workshop content. We're going to talk about the DEI code, which I know you've all seen, but we're just going to talk about it for a few moments. And then all of you are diverse learners here. So what I tried to do was use different learning activities throughout the session so everybody can be engaged, but it can, touch your learning style too, because some of you like lectures, some of you want to move around, some of you want to talk. So next we'll have introductory icebreaker. The icebreaker has nothing to do with Rotary DEI. It has to do with Rotary, but just a little bit of getting to know each other and kind of loosen the room a little bit. And then come to the party. We talk about party in a different way 2 times. So then we have district data survey. All presidents were provided a survey by the district governor related to DEI questions. That survey was completed and you'll see the respondent percentage in a few moments. And then the presidents gave that back to Dick, and then the DEI committee reviewed it. And then we decided what can we do with this and how can we support different clubs, and that's to come. Terminology, we'll talk about DEI, diversity, equity, equality, justice, and JEDI. Now, all of you have an idea what JEDI is, right? Well, anyways, what struck you? So through those slides, we're going to turn and talk, and you take one of those slides and talk about it in your group. And also, how does it relate to your club, or how can it relate to your club? And then we'll talk about your club, keeping it simple. Jacob's going to share, and you'll see a slide about Rotary heroes. If we get a chance, we'll talk about diversity scenarios, and I'll share a little bit about a DEI toolkit. Okay. Now, our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Rotary International just revised the DEI Code of Conduct. And as you can see, and I'm sure you've talked about in your clubs, you've seen it in the district newsletter, that it provides a framework of how Rotary members can create a meaningful and maintain an environment that's collaborative and positive and healthy. So we're going to implement this code of conduct in this session. So again, use respectful language, be supportive, foster welcoming and inclusive environment, and celebrate diversity. I know that DEI can be a very interesting and sometimes complex conversation to have. And I say that right from experience, because I'm on the DEI committee at the University of New England. And we have talked about workshops for people. We've talked about changing curriculum. The scope and sequence is huge about our conversations. And they sometimes, and we have a design where we have a consensus model. We're not all going to agree, but we're going to agree to disagree and use that consensus model. So with that said, everybody's idea is important. So it's intro time. The person to the left of you, please share your name, your club name, your role in Rotary, and how long you've been in Rotary. And then your favorite food and your favorite song. And the last two are to make this a little bit light. So you have 18 seconds. No, 18 minutes. No, I'm joking, Jacob. You have 1 minute more. Okay, now as I shared, Jacob is a new member to Saco Bay Sunset. He is not a new friend of mine. I have known Jacob for multiple years, and we've become colleagues. But as a new member, I would love to have Jacob give his perspective of why he wanted to be in Rotary, what he does in Rotary. And what I have up here for a slide, Jacob, as we've already shared, is that that we did the fundraiser of clothing for the Epilepsy Foundation. And I have the two pics that are here that we took in front of the truck and one when the truck was partially loaded. And the slide says, we don't see things as they are, we say things as we are. So Jacob, 5 minutes, please. And Jacob, this is where you're going to share. Okay, so write your script out if you can for Thursday, so we can practice this. Now we have the District 7780 survey. As I said, the survey was given out to all presidents in the district. There were 27 respondents. And the question you see here, question 8, my club members are active in learning about DEI issues and members are aware of Rotary's resources for learning in DEI. As we looked at this as a Rotary DEI committee, District 7780, we said, what level of information do they have? Since this is new, a new conversation, I should say, then we thought maybe that's what we target in on at this district assembly to share information with you. With that said, here is the survey and all the results, which I thought it was important for you to see this. Take notes if you wish. As I go through these, I will go through them quickly because I want to get back to the rest of the workshop session. Question 1, my club is committed to making our meeting accessible to all in the community and members are held at a time where it's conducive for many groups. As you can see in this slide, the presidents, I should say, 27 of them, determined that they agree with that statement. The meetings are accessible and held at a time that's conducive for many groups, or they strongly agree. Okay, just a share. So I'm going to be, like I say, going through these pretty quickly. Question 2, my club dues are affordable to all, including those who are not professionals in meal costs. If we have them, are also affordable if we have the meals. So again, what you have is a 40% agree and 29% disagree, excuse me, strongly agree that the club dues are affordable, and where you eat, if you do eat somewhere, the price is affordable for all members. On the other hand, just keep in mind, 25% said disagree. So as we go through this, think about your club, take some notes, please. And you might want to go back to your club and have a conversation about this. My Rotary Club is knowledgeable about DEI. I personally found this very interesting because at the university, we're starting off with having these conversations, and we are knowledgeable, but our knowledge level is at a beginning stage. So it was 80% as far as clubs being knowledgeable. What the extensive knowledge, that wasn't, could have been a follow-up question. Question 4, my club values the full range of diversity defined above, and our board understands diversity is important. You can see the results there. My club invests time and energy into building a welcoming and inclusive culture, and our club website is focused on diversity and inviting diverse members. People agree with this mostly, 63%, and strongly agree was 19%. So your website is focused on diversity. I know ours isn't. We're trying to work through that. And just a very short tale about this is we're working with Jacob because Jacob is not able to access our website right now. And we're working with the IRIS network to figure out how we can change our website to make it accessible for everyone. And at this point, for the blind. It's a work in progress for sure. And then question 6, my club invests time and energy with rapport with community-based organizations for the underdeserved and marginalized people that represent. Okay. Interesting enough, a lot of the others had NA or I do not know, and this one does not have that. But mostly everybody does agree that this is being done. It is representing the underserved and marginalized people. But there is 3.7 who disagree. And my club hosts speakers that represent differing perspectives. And this one here is the one we're focusing on today. My club members are active in learning about DEI issues, and members are aware of Rotary's resources for learning about DEI. We can see that agree and strongly agree, especially agree has the highest percentage in this belief, and agree is 37. But if you look at strongly agree, and couple that, that's 11%. So that's a pretty high percentage. But then you can also look at the green, and strongly agree is, disagree rather, excuse me, is 7%, and don't know is 18%. So that's 25%. That's a lot. So this is why we're having this workshop. 9, there is time in our meeting for everyone to have time to share their experiences. It's been said that some meetings, only certain people talk, and why do certain people talk? Is something to, think about. That is the end of the survey. So from here, I'm going to go back over to the PowerPoint, and we'll move on. So here it is. Here's question 8. Just having a little bit of a time, Jacob, so that's why I'm kind of halting, just to let you know. And what we have next is diversity, equity, inclusion. what does this mean? Here's some real easy or simple examples of DEI, and we're talking about a party. It's easier to relate it that way, I think, sometimes. That everyone is invited to the party and everyone is welcome. So it's just like our first statement that we had on the first screen. Equity, as it relates to a party, everyone has a chance to help plan the party and make decisions. So you're all involved, you're all part of the system. And inclusion, everyone is fully engaged, dancing, talking, eating, laughing, and having fun. So everybody has a role in DEI. Everyone is included. No one is excluded. No one is shunned. No one is not part of the process, not leaving anyone out. Everyone's idea is important. I'm just pausing for a second. Just don't. Okay. Diversity and inclusion, keep it simple. Here are some ways to keep it simple. Different individuals valuing each other regardless of skin, intellect, talent, or years. And then how do you include, invite others to join? Everybody has a strength. I truly believe that, especially being a classroom teacher and at this point, professor at the university. My classrooms are diverse. I have to look at every single student and what are their strengths and how can I support them in learning by using their strengths. That's what Rotary, the expectation for Rotary is. Normalize the experience. Commit to inclusive practice, just commit to it. We made a commitment statement in Saco Bay Sunset Rotary, and we keep on looking at that commitment statement to make sure we're doing things that we said we would be doing. For example, our meetings were at the country club. And when you come to the country club, it was an evening meeting and people purchased meals. Well, maybe not everyone could afford that. And of course, we did take a little shift with COVID, but then instead of going back to the country club, which it was great, we said, well, can we go to really make sure that everybody can afford to come to our meetings? So what we're doing right now is we're at the Old Orchard Beach Rec Department, which is in the old ballpark. And we have a meeting space there. And what we do is we give back to RAC whenever they need something, a support, then we support them. For example, there's a nighttime Easter egg hunt, so that's just how but that is part of our commitment to make sure that our places are affordable to new members, to all members. Lead by example, uncover strengths and talents, finding out in your group that if somebody's there and they're not a big talker or something, I know in my meetings, I've gone to meetings as a new member. I haven't been in Rotary all that long, and I'm looking at different people and I'm like, what do they do? What are their strengths? What do they like? And through conversations, we've been able to learn about our strengths and from each other, differentiate activities and encourage interaction. So diversity, what does diversity mean? It just basically means understanding that each individual is unique and recognizing each other's differences. And I say to that, and what are their strengths? How can you be a rich Rotary? Our commitment to equity. What does equity mean? And when I look at this slide, I think about my grandchildren, actually. And say, there's two frames here, and one of them has 3 people standing on the same size boxes on the outside of a fence, looking at a baseball game. And I think you all know why I explained that picture, because in my mind, I'm thinking about everyone in the room. I'm making this an inclusive workshop. So if I I'm thinking about my grandchildren, then what barriers to success do individuals face? Well, I have 15 grandchildren. So I take 3 to the ball game. And what happens, my tallest grandson, who's a senior in high school, stands on that platform and he sees everything. He hears everything. And then equality, then the middle grandchild sits on the same size box and has a pretty good understanding of what's going on in the ball game. But then I take my youngest great granddaughter, and she stands on the box and she has not a clue. She has some idea of what's going on, but not a full idea of what's going on in that ball game. So then we flip to equity, and you can see there are different size boxes. So everyone has a clear view of the game. And so just keep that in mind. And that's a nice way, nice visual to share if you want to in your clubs. And Jedi, that's another word. I brought it up earlier. So Jedi means justice, equity, diversity, inclusion. I'm just sharing this with you just to have a little bit of fun, actually, and to have you understand what Jedi is if you ever hear it in the concept of DEI. And so, aren't Jedi the life of the party? Aren't they diverse? Okay. Here's a little bit more of Jedi. This is actually what Jedi means again. And where does justice fit into DEI? This is just a food for thought frame. Okay, and here's our Jedi inclusive group. Again, everyone's fully engaged, dancing, talking, eating, laughing together. So let's turn and talk. And equity in your club. Take one of the items, bulleted items, and are there barriers preventing people from attending meetings? Do you have one of these bullets as a barrier? And if you do, just note the barrier on the paper that you have, and then come up with an idea of how you could probably solve that barrier. And then we're going to have just a little bit of carousel so people can see each other's work. And I'll give you 10 minutes for that. And the next slide, what can your club do? Learn to look at things from a different point of view. So let's take that walk now and let's go look at the posters. And Jacob will have somebody go around and share some of the words with you. Okay, Jacob, I'm going to need to rearrange one of these slides, but it's a turn and talk about the slides. And I'm just going to have to rearrange it. And I'll share with you when we meet Thursday what I'm rearranging. What I have now is a turn and talk, and it's what slide resonated with you and where do you think your club is related to the slide. So what I think I'm going to do with this turn and talk, I'm going to put it before people write about what their club can do. Okay. Next slide. We're all Rotary heroes. Just a fun slide of people with Rotary shirts on, men, women in different color. Some with glasses, some with not. Some with sunglasses, which of course means they could be blind. And then diversity discussion starters. This is where I have 6 different writings that people can use. They're going to read them, and then we're going to, what can you do as Rotary for this? I hope to fit it in, Jacob. I don't know if I will, but, and this is probably going to be like a 15-minute activity. And I'm looking at the time right now as well. Next slide, DEI, what does your club do? I might take this one out. And then finally, Rotary links that they can go to find information. I'll share those. And then another slide, it says, believe there is good in the world. And it says District 7780 DEI committee members, and I will have the committee members on here. So hopefully, Jacob, this can help you. And it gives you an idea of the presentation and me as well. And I know I have to clean it up.